Well, hello everyone, and welcome to Agree or Disagree, the podcast. This is Kevin Olenek. You can, of course, find me on Facebook. Add me as a friend on Facebook, Kevin Olenek. Follow me on Twitter at KEVOLE, Spreaker.com, KEVOLE, YouTube, Kevin Olenek. Subscribe on iTunes, Agree or Disagree, the podcast. And the topic we are talking about today on this podcast is entrepreneurship and internet marketing. There is a good chance, probably a great chance, that on your social media feeds you see someone advertising some sort of internet marketing or entrepreneurship opportunity, or MLM as some would use, offering ways that you can work from home and make money. There's no question that there is an appeal to work from home. I also work from home, so I get it. Setting your hours, not rushing to work, having your lunch when you want. But there's also a struggle. You rush, you hustle, you probably put in too many hours, and you probably don't always have a balanced life. While some have found some success, others have struggled, others have given up, and others cannot get off the ground. And some have felt, even has gone too far to say, that a lot of this is a scam. Well, our guest today has navigated her way through this. Her name is Jacky Lamenzo. She has started Elevate Like a Boss. She started back in May of 2017, and she is joining us from the fine city of Austin, Texas, which I believe is still in the Amazon running. Am I not correct? Have we heard? Because they were one of the favorites, were they not?
I don't know. That is not my forte here.
Okay, well, there you go. You can ask someone. My point being is Austin, Texas is a very nice city. I've never been there, but I'm sure it is a very lovely city, and people should check it out, including myself. Is that correct, at least?
Yes, it is a great city. It was a lot of fun, and just a lot of really great people here.
Right. There we go. Well, welcome to Agree or Disagree, the podcast, and thanks for coming on.
Thank you so much.
I always like to give people to kind of like, you can do your research and there's stuff on the internet about you, but kind of tell us from your perspective what got you to where you are today.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, first of all, for having me. The internet is so awesome that it can connect us in such cool ways. So just happy to be here and love the whole idea of Agree or Disagree. And when I saw that in one of the pages that we are both following, I said, I have one. A lot of people ask, can you actually make money with network marketing? So that's what we're going to answer today. But a little bit about me. I am from Boston, Massachusetts. I moved down to Austin about 4 years ago. I was working for an elementary school as an operations manager, and going into my third year, I was told that I was totally capped my salary. It would be 6 years until I get a raise, and it would be $250 a year. That's sadly the education system for you. And so I started seeking elsewhere. I started looking for other opportunities. Thanks to my mom, I'm very entrepreneurial and have had many different sort of side businesses, side hustles, whatever you want to call it, along the way, and got into network marketing, like you said, in May 2017. And what I was realizing was that what I was being taught to do didn't always feel like me. It didn't feel authentic and good and real. And it felt like I was sort of using the same language that somebody else had written and being told to send it to 300 people. And that to me was like, well, you know, what I would say to a high school friend I haven't seen in 10 years and what I would say to, you know, a friend I met abroad in Italy would be very different things. I can't just copy and paste the same message, right? And so what ended up happening August of last year, just over a year ago, I met Holly Metz, my now business partner, and she lives in New Braunfels, Texas, so she's about 40 minutes south of me. And we said, you know what, we're not giving up. We're not ready to give up because we know we believe in this method. We believe in the platform of, you know, creating an online business, but we couldn't keep doing it the way we were being told. And we said, let's just start seeking some education elsewhere. Let's start looking at just sales education in general and sort of start pulling from what other people were teaching. And so that opened our eyes a lot. We started this group that has now become Elevate Like a Boss. It started as tips for virtual events or something totally random, but we started it the end of October last year. So we're about to hit our 1-year anniversary, and we're also about to hit 6,000 members in our group, which is really exciting. And so really what the group is all about is teaching network marketers, online marketers, anyone who has an online business and there's an entrepreneur showing up in the online space, how to be authentic, grow a following, gain new prospects, gain new just people in their audience who are watching what they're doing, so that we don't have to beg mom and Aunt Sally and our best friend from high school to buy our products, right? Because that's where it gets annoying. That's where it gets salesy and spammy, and this whole reputation that it sort of has just evolved into. When you find out a friend is selling a certain product, you're like, oh, I don't want to see her because she's going to want me to buy it, right? And so we said there has to be a better way. And so sort of starting to pull from other different places, always giving credit where credit was due. We started training. We started saying, hey, we have some new ideas. And then, a couple months in, we said, I didn't read that in a book. We just came up with that. We started saying, wow, we actually have content that we are making on our own, which just sort of was evolving over time between the members in our group that were amazing and giving us great suggestions and realizing what was working in our own businesses online, and what was feeling better for us. So that's sort of where I came from. I haven't even been in the industry for that long, but it didn't take long for me to realize that it can be a vehicle to earn money, but not if done in the wrong way. When people are blocking you and avoiding you and ignoring you, right? That it's just not how we want to be seen. So we came up with this method, and we call it the Elevate Like a Boss method. And it's basically all about connection, being vulnerable and authentic and real, and showing up and saying when things are hard and scary, and that's okay. And that, people need to relate to you in order to, trust you and get to know you online. And then also creating curiosity around what we do. So not saying straight out what it is that we're selling or what it is that we're, what company we're working with, but showing what it's doing for us, not just a picture of the bottle of the product, right? And so that has sort of gotten us to where we are now, which is this amazing, amazing group of people who are just so supportive, just searching for a community that can understand that, well, I'm being told this, but it doesn't feel good. So what should I do? And they come to this safe space of do what feels good to you. There are other ways, and that you don't have to give up. It doesn't have to be the end all be all. You still can earn money doing it doing network marketing, online marketing, whatever you want to call it. So that's sort of where I'm at now. We're actually having our very first retreat with Elevate Like a Boss in October down in New Braunfels. So it's been a crazy, crazy year, and never knew that a Facebook group could grow to something that could just touch so many people and really just bring us together in such a cool way. So that is me and Elevate Like a Boss, and sort of our mission right now in just changing the reputation of network marketing, and that it doesn't have to be how it's always been. Cool.
Now, it sounds like you, the thing I heard you say is that your mom really developed your entrepreneurial skills as you were growing up.
Yeah.
Do you think that we have do you think, I'll agree or disagree this. Do you agree or disagree that everyone can be an entrepreneur and everybody could sell?
No, I disagree that everyone could. No, I also think, especially in something like network marketing, where you have to be really driven, you have to be really focused on, okay, I'm not giving up. I'm going to give it my all. I don't think a lot of people find it worthwhile, or they're not motivated by it. I need that. When I was told that I capped out my salary at my desk job, I was like, well, so I can work the same amount. I can work a little bit. I could work a lot. I could work, and this is my salary. And that wasn't motivating to me. And so I know that I have that entrepreneurial spirit of, and my mom can tell you it was from a long time ago. My lemonade stands were not your next door neighbor's lemonade stands. But, I really think that not everybody is driven by that the hustle and the grind, right? And so I disagree. I think that it is something that's in you, and maybe different things are going to excite you and bring it out of you, but I don't think everyone can just start selling something. I don't think everyone has it in them.
Is it something that can be taught?
I think with the right opportunity and the right training, yes, but I'm hesitant still. I still don't know if anybody can really just pick up on the drive, because it's not even as much as the education and the training behind it as much it is the like fire in your belly to do it. So I think that with the right training and with the right education and push behind it, you can get more people. But I still think that it sort of is something that you either have or you don't. And a lot of people are really comfortable with going to their 9 to 5, and that's great. I mean, we need people to do that. We need people who, are happy to do this same position, because we need those jobs, right? So I think that there's nothing wrong with being an entrepreneur. There's nothing wrong with not. But I think it is an internal drive thing. Like, it's that fire in you that I don't know if everyone can be taught it.
See, what I think, like for me, I was comfortable in my job. But I wanted, like you, it wasn't so much that I could make more money. I probably could make more money, but I really was desiring to do what I am doing now. But I also think that there's a difference maybe between feeling comfortable and feeling miserable. And I feel like there's a lot, especially as you get older, people that are feeling... Do you see that there's things that hold people back from taking the step to do what you've done? They have the skills, they have the drive. There's something within them, but they don't know how to. There's the fear or something holding them back to taking that step.
Absolutely, and I think that's why so many people don't. I think so many people, and so I just left my job this summer, so I'm like in the midst of that fear and that excitement and that all those emotions, and like what you were saying, like I was told that I can't make any more money, but I also was my third year in a position that I had nailed down. Like I wasn't driven, I wasn't learning anymore, and I just sort of felt stuck, financially and just learning. I just felt stuck. And so for me, that was enough for me to say, all right, I'm going to do it. And people aren't going to get it. People are going to say, what are you talking about? You're leaving your job, But I left in July, and it definitely was scary. And I've had a lot of people come to me since I have left and say, oh my gosh, I wish I could do that. I wish I could leave too. And from the bottom of my heart, if you want to, you can. And just like you said, like, don't look at, and of course we have to make money, we have to pay our bills, but to look at X amount of money over here and X amount of money, but so much more flexibility and gratitude and excitement and helping more people, like that to me was a no-brainer. So while I navigate and sort of figure out how to make that comfortable income doing what I love, I'm having so much more fun doing it than sitting at a desk for someone else. So that for me, it's an interesting question that came up just because I'm in the midst of it. But I think if somebody wants it enough, and I also think it's really important to have the guidance, have somebody who is saying, yes, you can do it, and not everybody has that. Everybody has that, and I think a lot of people are too scared to even ask for what would you think if I was thinking about leaving? Some people can't even say that out loud, right? But again, I was lucky to have my mom, because she's like, yeah, you can do it. You can, you have all these different things going on for you and different streams of income. And so it wasn't like I was leaving one thing to go to one other thing. I walked away from a salary to make my side businesses, give it the time that they need so that they can actually make me money and can actually grow. And so I wouldn't suggest to anyone, oh, just leave your job, you're good. But I built a foundation. So from May 2017, I had a full year before I left. And so I started creating that foundation for myself. And actually, before I started at the school, I was I had gotten a certification as a health coach and a life coach and was sort of navigating through that world. And I didn't have a foundation. I didn't have a group of people who were looking for me to be their coach. And so it didn't work right away. And it would have taken a lot longer. And so then, fast forward 4 years, I have been building a foundation and have found something that just makes me so happy to work on, because I believe that these people that have found Elevate Like a Boss, they are the hustlers. They are the people who you want to have on your network marketing team, because they're trying so hard and they're working. And so we said, well, it's not a lack of energy or focus or drive. That's there. It's what they're doing isn't working. They're spinning their wheel because they're talking to the same people. Okay, so how can we solve that? We can network more. We can teach them how to find networking events or build networking events in their cities so that they have something that they can meet new people. So I definitely think that I'm a little bit off on a tangent. I apologize, Kevin, but I definitely think that, if you really want to take that leap of, I'm going to walk away from my comfort, my salary, my day job, I think you have a lot of work to figure out what you want to do, but I think everyone can do it. I think absolutely there's a way to match passion and figuring out how to monetize it, because there are people out there who need what you're offering, right? Whatever it is. So I do think that can be more guided and taught if they have the drive to do it. And they say, I want to leave my job in January. Here's my platform. Here's my runway here, and I built myself a runway. I said, okay, I'm going to start putting away money. I'm going to start doing it because I know that I need to do that for myself. And so being realistic about it, but I definitely think it's doable. And I definitely think having somebody who can help you with it and just tell you that you could do it. Sometimes you just need the motivation and that push of someone saying, yeah, it's possible. Like, you really can do it, is just such a game changer.
Before we get specifically into the words of network marketing, if you could go back to talk to your May 2017 Jacky now, what would be one thing that you learned through this that you were like, if I knew that then that I knew now, this would have went a little bit better for me. Not that you're struggling in any way, shape, or form, but there's always, like, even as you develop something, there's always something if I knew that then, it would be better now.
Absolutely. No, what a great question. And actually, we've had people multiple times say in our group, I wish I had this knowledge when I started. And I said the same thing. I think I was so excited when I started that I wanted to tell everyone and their mother about it. And I wanted to tell everyone about the product and everything about it. And I just sort of word vomited on everybody. And I think had I been more strategic and taken it step by step and started networking more and meeting new people and growing that audience and creating that curiosity, I really could have built it not faster, but longer, more long term, I think. And instead of, I hate to think back to May of 2017 because I'm sure I did annoy a lot of people, and I hope I didn't. And if you're listening to this, I apologize, and I've definitely changed my ways. But I was excited, and it wasn't anything vicious. I was excited, and I wanted to just start making money, and I wanted people to use the products that I was loving, and I wanted people to join me on my team because I thought it was the best thing in the world, right? So I think really just diving in so fast and so hard is what we're taught to do in network marketing. But if we were to step back and strategize a little bit and say, okay, I'm going to focus on making 5 new connections a day, either online or offline. I'm going to focus on going to networking events and starting to tell people about what I'm doing, but not blasting that I work for this new company or I sell these new products and I'm having a sale until Monday, because that becomes white noise for people. Mm-hmm. And that's when they keep scrolling on their page, right? But worse than that, and this is probably really the one thing I would tell myself is, cold messaging people, sending a message, actually technically warm messaging people because they're people that I knew. I mean, they were my friends. They were my high school friends and college friends that I hadn't talked to, and saying, hey, it's been forever. I just wanted you to know, I just started this new business and I have these great products and this is what it's doing for me. I would love to chat. And that puts someone in a corner. I mean, that puts someone, they have three choices. They can ignore me, and then they feel like the bad person. They can say no thanks, and then it's still an icky feeling. Or they can listen, and maybe down the road they're interested, but maybe not. But the point is, they didn't show any interest before I sent that to them. And so that was me pushing something on them, rather than allowing them to approach me. And so that really is one of the biggest things that we talk about in Elevate Like a Boss. Instead of sending those 300 copy and paste messages, connecting with people and saying, hey, Sarah, it's been forever. How are you? And just really connecting with people, not looking for a sale, but looking to reconnect with people that we haven't talked to in a while, and then making a post on our actual timelines and saying, I absolutely love this product. This is what it's doing for me, and just sharing about my experience. It has nothing to do with you. It has everything to do with me and what it's doing for me. And that's when people say, hey, Jacky, what is that? Tell me more about that. And then the door is open on their side, and they asked for the invitation. They asked for more information. So I was sending those cold messages, and I don't want to think about it because it was so embarrassing. But really, I thought that was the best way to get the word out, right? And maybe it was the fastest way to get the word out, but it wasn't the long-term strategy best way to get the word out because it had people ignoring me, it had people probably unfriending me or blocking me, and it just, in the long run, it didn't get me anywhere. It wasn't like I had 1,000 sales from that, first batch of cold messages. So that would be my one thing. I will never send a cold message again.
So it sounds like instead of sending out 300 messages and like basically throwing spaghetti to the wall, hoping that it sticks, just be more strategic about it and maybe send 150 quality or create the quality relationships that go forward.
Yes. And not mentioning the products, not mentioning my business, but saying, how are you? How have you been? I mean, it's been 10 years, and really just connecting with people. And then typically they say, well, how are you? What are you doing now? What are you up to? Where are you living? Right. And that's when I can say, oh, I actually, started this new business, and it's not this like attack, we're not attacking. We're not looking to put someone in that corner of, I have to make this decision. What do I say back to Jacky, right? It's so much more natural. Just like, and we say this all the time, just like if you run into someone you haven't seen in 10 years in the grocery store, you're not going to tell them about your new products. You're going to ask them how they are. You're going to say, hey, it's been forever. How's your family? How's your kids, right? And then naturally they're going to say, well, what about you? And you say, oh, well, I'm living here and I'm doing this and this is my new business and I love it. And it's not like, hey, do you want to buy it right now in the grocery store aisle? Like, no. So I think a lot of times people forget that online is still people and it's still these connections that we need to really respect and not just look at as a sale. And so I think that's a huge, huge thing that I've learned.
So, and you talked about like a lot of the stuff that you kind of have said and have discovered hasn't necessarily been in the internet marketing world, because there's a perception when I say internet marketing, there's going to be some people that have, a pretty positive experience with it, but there's going to be people that will say, I just have this little in their gut. And it's probably because of some of the things that you have experienced. You're not the only one that has done it. Mm-hmm. How hard has it been to kind of change that language? And how, like for other internet marketers that are in this space of, well, I feel like I have to send out 300 of those. I still have to be in that hustle grind mode and really be selling. How does it change? How do you continue to create that change?
Yeah, for sure. That's a great question. So I think a lot of people in the group have said, this feels so much better because sending cold messages isn't fun. And then you don't get any responses. or the responses you get are like, no, I'm good, thanks. Or, it's not fun and it doesn't get you anywhere. So I think a lot of people just didn't know what else to do. And so they were just told to do that, and they were being coachable and they followed it. And that's not on them, and it's not even on the person who told them, because they were probably told as well. So it's sort of this like passed down information that probably worked 5 years ago, to be completely honest, when these companies started, right? And the people who got in 5 to 10 years ago are the ones who are at the tippy top. And they say, oh yeah, of course, just send this. It worked for me. And so that has been a really big eye opener, because a lot of people are like, well, but my friend did it and it worked, right? Well, what year was it? Because now everyone does it, and your friend that you're cold messaging is also getting other cold messages, and they're just going into that mental note of, oh, well, so-and-so selling too, right? And it's just so not personal and not a real connection. So I think when we released a course in August, and so it's basically 3 different modules. The first one is all about connection and networking. The second one's all about vulnerability and being real and authentic and sharing about you and what you love, and not just your business. And then the third one is creating curiosity and sort of pulling the people in and saying, here's what I love. And then the people who are curious about it, then you can make those connections. And so I think at first, when we first started Elevate Like a Boss almost a year ago, it was like, okay, don't cold message, right? That we knew not to do that, but we didn't know what else to do. Like, what do we do instead? So I think, there was this learning curve for the first couple months of, okay, this doesn't work, but what does work? And so we've sort of figured that out over the last year of, send somebody, one thing we love to tell people, send somebody a voice note, let them hear your voice and say, hey, how's it going? Would you like to get coffee on Friday? And making those real actual connections, because having coffee with someone for 30 minutes is going to be much more beneficial than going back and forth and sort of doing this like, oh, I'm good, how are you, right? But when you get coffee with somebody, they get to hear your enthusiasm. They get to see, all your excitement. Same with a voice note, almost same with a voice note. It's the next best thing if you're not in the same room. And so finding ways to share with people in the group to say, hey, what if you try this? What if you try sending a voice note? What if you try inviting someone over for coffee and see how that goes? And so what's been cool in the last year has been, okay, we know what not to do. Now we're figuring out, okay, what do we do, right? We make those connections. We connect with 5 new people online every day. Yeah, it's not going to happen every single day, but that's what we aim for. And when we're not sure what to do in our business, we connect with new people and we ask them about them, and we see how we can help them and see how we can connect them with something else, whether it's a book recommendation that we love or a product that we happen to have, right? It's not always looking for the next sale. And what people in the group have said is it just, one, it makes them just feel better. They don't feel as icky and spammy and salesy. But 2, they've made awesome connections with people all over the world, because Facebook is an amazing thing. And so it turns into this, I'm not in it for the sale. And when you're in it for the sale, it's just, there's no way for it not to feel super icky, right? And then people can feel that, and then they don't want to really continue the conversation. But when it naturally happens and they ask you how you are, what are you up to, what are you working on these days, and you can share and you can really be excited and you can say, oh my gosh, actually I found this new company. It's so awesome, and I'd love to share more, but we'll talk about it another time, and not feel like this is like the end all be all only chance that I can give you all the information about the products and all the information about the company. And so I think sometimes we think we have this one chance to put all the information in, and that just turns someone off, right? So I definitely think that I don't know. I'm on a tangent again, but I think I answered your question.
Yeah. So there's one of that sales terms is always be closing. So in your way, how do you get into the always be closing aspect? Or do you buy into that? Or do you think that's an old school sales tactic and we need to kind of turn left or right on that?
Yeah, honestly, we don't teach that. We really just teach, one thing that has definitely helped is, being able to, okay, we run into someone at the grocery store and we say, okay, let's make our next appointment, right? You set your next time to talk to somebody, and maybe they show interest about what you're talking about. You say, you know what, let's I got to run. I have to go, whatever, but let's set a time to chat. And so then it's sort of this separate time. It's not giving all this information at once. It's not trying to close them right there in the grocery store, but it's setting a separate time that you can sit down and ask questions and answer questions and things like that. I definitely, I think if you're always trying to close, you're going to come across as the one that's always trying to sell. And it's hard to find that balance, but for me, that's not my mentality. My mentality is, how can I connect with someone? How can I help somebody? And for me, a lot of people come to me and they say, Jacky, you just quit your job. What are you doing? Well, that's an invitation for me to share about what I'm doing, right? And it's not this salesy thing, but I've shared my story with them the whole way and said, wow, gosh, next week is my last day at work. I can't believe it. I've shared all along the way of this story that I have, and I've opened that up, and I had to be willing to do that. Right. And so when I then connect with someone and I haven't talked to them in a while, I was just back home in Boston, almost every single person I saw or ran into, they said, Jacky, oh my gosh, your story, like, thank you for sharing. It's so crazy. You're on this crazy journey. You just left your job. And I'm like, you didn't even comment or like that. I didn't even know you were paying attention, but they asked me how I'm doing it. And so that is my way, that right now in this moment is my invitation to share more about what I do. So it's different for everyone. But I think that if we're always trying to close, then you're going to lose that authenticity that we talked about in the beginning of, Jacky is just trying to sell to someone, or Jacky has a cool story and she's just looking to share it. Like, which one feels better? Right. Right. So, so I think it's not our method how, to teach to close all the time, because we haven't found it works.
It's more, it sounds more relationship wise,
yes,
invitation wise.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Now, in terms of vulnerability, it's a really interesting word, and it's an interesting subject, because especially on social media, there are some people that feel that people are too vulnerable, and they say too much. In this way, can you be too vulnerable? How much is too much vulnerability? And I hate to use it, this is going to sound a little salesy how I say it, but is there almost an art to how to be vulnerable?
That's so interesting. That's a really great question. You've had awesome questions today, Kevin.
Well, thank you.
So we actually, like I said, it was the second step of our course that we just released. So we're actually right now in week 2 of this course, and it's all about vulnerability. And so what we talk about in this module of the course, just because it'll help you answer my question, is basically think about your own story and think about what has gotten you to where you are, and think about all the things that, it actually is a couple of the questions that you asked me, like, what would you tell yourself when you were struggling? Like, when I was told in that contract meeting that I was not going to get a raise and that I was going to stay in the same position, nothing's changing at all, no upward movement for me. What could I have told myself in that moment? And for me, it was, there's another way, right? So in this module of this course, we have people think back, or maybe it's right now, of that hard time of, I need to get out of this. I need something different. I need something better. What would you tell that person? And so what we try to do is when we, create a post on Facebook, I mean, I don't really just post willy-nilly. I don't just post anything. I make really thoughtful posts, and I like to really share about what I'm excited about or what I'm struggling with, because people also need to see that I just didn't like la-di-da, left my job, everything's great. No, I'm a little bit freaking out, right? There are times that it's, I'm really trying to figure out what my next step is, right? And so I think that that's so important. I think sometimes people want to put themselves in this expert position. Oh, I'm up on this pedestal because, I don't know, maybe people will hire me then, right? Maybe people will want to work with me if I'm this absolute expert. And what I've realized is when I can be real and when I can admit my mistakes or my downfalls, people are there and they appreciate me and me sharing so much more. And so I think in an online setting like this, when you're trying to show up as a coach or as as an instructor for something, or you're selling products, and you're sort of showing up as somebody who is an expert in their field, I think, share what is going great, but also when you share the things that are like, dang it, has anyone else experienced this? I just had this crazy thing happen to me. Everything was going so well, and I hit this roadblock. Who's with me? And every time somebody says, yep, I hear you, happened to me too, or, sorry that happened, or whatever, they're connecting with me every single time. And so I really think that is sort of how this group has been built. We've just been really real. We're like, we don't know what we're doing. We're figuring it out as we go. And here we are, we're having our first retreat. And so even to our first retreat guests, as we were preparing, it's in about 3 weeks, we're like, bear with us, we're figuring it out, but we're here and we're real and we're with you. And that's honestly all they care about. Like, they only care that we're supporting them and that we're holding their hands and that we're really trying to help them in their businesses. And so I think, we could have positioned ourselves as absolute experts, had these professional photos taken, and, just said, oh yeah, join Elevate Like a Boss. We're the experts behind it. No, we're not, we're learning it as we go. And I think that's what makes it really approachable of a group. But also just me online, the way that I make my posts and share about this journey. Right before I launched the course, I posted just totally raw, like, guys, I'm about to put my heart out there for people to see. And I've been pouring so many weeks of work into this course with Holly, and maybe nobody buys it. Maybe 0 people want to come to this retreat. And then what? That's going to hurt. Right. But we also realized, I talked to Holly on the phone the night before we released the course, which also included the opportunity to come to the retreat. And I said, but if I just leave this on my computer, I made it in iMovie, then nobody's going to see it. And then we don't know. We don't know if anyone wants to come. And maybe 10 people want to come, maybe 100 people. We don't know until we put it out there. And so I definitely think that there's a line. I mean, I'm not going to post things that are like super personal, but I also do allow people to see that this isn't a walk in the park, and it isn't for everyone. Right. But the people who are watching and who are paying attention, I think they see it as, okay, well, she can do it, right? So I can do it too. And I want that. Like, I don't want to be seen as this expert that people, can't follow my footsteps. I want people to say, oh, wow, well, Jacky just left her job a few months ago and she's sharing her journey, right? So I definitely think there's a line for, how much to share, but I think that at the very same time, I think that being vulnerable and sharing all the things, not just the spotlight things that are wonderful, has really gotten me to where I am, because people trust me and they feel like they know me more from my posts. And I think that's really important.
Yeah, it's to me, like, I feel like there's a lot of people out there, I think, that are more admirable to what you do, when someone is taking, which legitimately is a risk, right? You're putting your heart out there. I think that people are more admirable to that than they are willing to, especially in I feel like Facebook is a bit safer than Twitter in that sense.
Mm-hmm.
Although I think Twitter, for the most part, can be supportive sometimes, not always.
Mm-hmm.
But I feel like, I think that people are like, hey, because we all have to start somewhere. We all have to start, and I think people are just tired of arguing with each other anymore. And I think they want to hear good news, and they want to just hear more important. Like, I feel like the politics stuff is becoming more fluffy, and people are wanting some genuine, authentic. Where are you? What do you really do about?
Yeah.
I don't know if
Absolutely.
You're seeing the same way, but.
No, I definitely agree. And I find that, those are the posts that people connect with. And those are the posts that people, like when I posted, I'm just so nervous about putting this out here, but, I'm doing it anyway. My motto and our motto in Elevate Like a Boss is do it afraid, and just do it anyway, because it's going to be scary, but if we don't do it, then nothing happens. Right. And I'm not going to allow nothing to happen and nothing to change in my life, right? So there's going to be fear involved, but that's okay. And so just to put it out there anyway. And that's when people are like, I mean, I got so much love and just so much support from this one post. I remember I was traveling, I was in Chicago, and I posted it and was like, I don't even know what I'm doing, and I'm putting out this course and I can't believe it. And it just was, you've got this. I love your journey. Thank you for sharing. You can do this. You're so inspiring. And that to me was like, wow, like, okay, people are watching me, and that's holding me accountable, right? That's keeping me showing up every day. And so it's been incredible to share my journey along the way, because sometimes I don't know how much it really affects other people, or other people are watching it. And I don't mean it in a selfish way by any means, but coming back to when I was traveling and I was visiting back home, and people would make comments about videos that I've made, and I'm like, what? I didn't even know you were paying attention, right? And so I just, that's why I keep sharing it, because I think a lot of people aren't sure if they should share it, and I want to show them that they can, because it's pretty therapeutic, and it sort of shows you where your support is coming from, and it shows you that people are cheering you on, and that you're also inspiring them, because you're doing it afraid, and you're putting yourself out there, and this isn't a walk in the park, so
yeah. And in that vulnerability, and I mean, we all have our days that are crap, that are just, pardon my French, they're shit, and they don't go the way that you plan or whatever, and it's just someone yells at you, or it just sets you off. Something sets you off, which leads to the self-care piece. And you do have a video with, can't remember her name, Reiki lady. Eleni, yes. Yeah. Talk about the power of self-care, especially in the entrepreneur internet marketing world. Talk about how important it is, and kind of what you've discovered in that.
Absolutely. So I think, I said earlier, just the flexibility that I've gotten with walking away from my day job and sort of figuring out and how to navigate the full-time entrepreneur life, which honestly gives me chills to say, because it's just crazy. But what I've realized is that now that I don't have to be on somebody else's schedule, I need to really listen to me and my body and how I'm feeling. And so, for example, yesterday I slept in a little bit and I felt guilty about it. And I said, you know what? I don't need to feel guilty about it, because I stayed up late working the night before, right? So I have to sort of shift out of I'm working 9 to 5. I'm planning on working all day on Saturday with Holly to prep for this retreat. So if I need to take a nap in the middle of the day just to reset and keep going, then I need to do that. And so I think we get so stuck in, you're supposed to be working when it's daylight, and you're supposed to be working Monday through Friday. And all of a sudden I'm given all of this freedom. And what I'm really, really trying to take out of it is, okay, if I need to go for a walk so that I can keep brainstorming, or if I need to call my mom in the middle of the day like I did yesterday and just get some more ideas, then I need to do that. Even though I couldn't have done it when I was sitting at my desk at my 9 to 5, that's completely irrelevant. And so I'm getting out of that, I shouldn't do this, or I should do this because it's a certain time of day. So that all comes down to just listening to when I'm tired, when I'm anxious, when I'm hungry, when I need to write, when I need to read my book, whatever it is, and just really being in tune with what I'm needing at the time, and knowing that it's okay, even if it's 2 p.m. on a Thursday, it's okay to do that thing. I think one thing that is just so important is to be moving, to walk, to run, to whatever it is that you really love and makes you feel good. Because the days that I don't do that are the days that I need that nap, right? Are the days that I don't feel as great. And because I don't have a boss saying, well, where is that report that was due? I need to keep myself accountable, and I need to keep myself on track. So yeah, I had Eleni come and do a session. I interviewed her briefly the other day. She's in my networking group here in Austin that I started back in January. It's called Hustle Up ATX. And she does Reiki. And so she came on and just talked about tips for really anyone, but specific to entrepreneurs, and how how diet is so important, figuring out what works for you, that there's not this one diet that fits all, but figuring out what makes you feel good, what gives you energy. She talked about just listening to yourself and what it is that your body needs. And so I just think, for me, what I really thrive on is writing in the morning. I do something called early morning pages. Julia Cameron is a writer, and she came up with this a long time ago, and I learned about it in my coaching program. And it's basically just 3 pages freehand about anything, no time limit, but you just write your full 3 pages. And you can rip it up, you can burn it, you can keep it in a notebook. It doesn't matter. It's not meant to be reread. And that really just clears the clutter in the morning, and it really helps me figure out my day and figure out what I need to focus on. And maybe I wake up and I had this weird dream and I can write about that. So it's just gone. It's basically my time to vent and gossip and all this without really putting it out there in the universe and telling somebody else. And it's just the days that I write compared to the days that I wake up and scroll mindlessly on my phone. Gosh, such a difference. And I just, all I can do is remind myself when I wake up, which one is going to make me feel better, right? Which one is going to give me a better outcome, a better day. So writing is something that, that's when I get my ideas and I get my excitement, and it wakes me up. And, but finding that thing for you, maybe it's a morning run, maybe it's walking with a group of people, maybe it's blogging, who knows? I mean, it really is so different for everyone. And I don't think it's cookie cutter, but I think figuring that out is really important.
So do you have a routine, or do you have a flexible routine?
Flexible routine. I actually I was thinking about it and was saying, should I have this really rigid set routine? And I, as I've had the flexibility, I've been really enjoying not waking up to an alarm, but still getting up at it. I usually wake up between 7 and 7:30, but to not wake up to an alarm is like the best thing in the world. And that is because I've sort of internalized it, and I've allowed myself to actually get out of bed at that time and start my day. So that has been really, really great for me to not have that alarm. I love that. But I also, I need to also be rigid with myself and not allow myself to just sleep in and relax in the morning and things like that. So I typically am up between 7 and 7:30. On my best days, I'm writing before I check my phone. That's typically my goal. Without checking my phone and starting writing, that is my sweet spot. And I know that I'm going to get more done that day. The rest of my day is always different, between meeting with different people, going to different events, going to different coffee shops to work. I've really loved having the flexibility of going to new places or working from home or, whatever that may be. Typically going somewhere helps me a lot. If I stay around here, then, there's laundry, there's dishes, there's whatever to do here. So I do like to get out. And when I'm scheduling things with people, a call, a coaching session, whatever it may be, I typically try to have something on the calendar by 9 a.m. So I know that I have something that I need to be at or need to, be on a call or something like that. But that also gives me enough time to get my me time in the morning, that I don't feel rushed and, like I'm scrambling to get to my first thing that I have to be at. So it's been pretty cool.
Yeah, it's one of the challenges of working from home, I think, is finding that balance with because we're so used to at your job or in my old job, it's 9 to 5 and your lunch is at this time and you need to be back at this time. And maybe we're measured, our productivity is measured by the time that we sit at our desk and I'm using air quotes here, doing something when recently I just completed a writing project and I'm going for a walk, thinking about it is you're being productive. There's actually, I'm being more productive walking right now than I am sitting at my desk. And really, I think the studies show that we're actually productive 3 out of the 8 hours at best that we're at a desk. So
Yeah.
I think that helps. It's just a balance of finding that routine and not using it as an excuse and a crutch. Well, I need to nap for 5 hours today.
Right. Right.
And
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, before we talk a little bit about the retreat and Elevate and some of the programs, the question I have here is, the other one I want to talk about is discerning a little bit between, let's say someone comes up to you with an internet marketing idea and you aren't sure about it. What are some good questions that you've had to kind of challenge you to prove your value or what you're doing is authentic and genuine?
Sure. So are you giving, like, do you mean if someone comes up to me with a network marketing company that potentially I could join? Is that what you mean?
Join, or you offer, like when you're offering Elevate Like a Boss, kind of avoiding the whole, like, it's a scam, but like proving, okay, we're not a scam, we're real, and we have something very powerful to offer you.
Sure. Absolutely. Well, so I think it really, and this was another, like, one of those very first things in Elevate that we said, what you are selling has to resonate with you. It has to be in alignment with what you love. And I think that applies to everyone, even if you're already with a company and you need to reevaluate that. Sometimes, I mean, people switch companies, people switch jobs. It is what it is. And I think that there's this almost a stigma to switching companies because it's like, oh, well, you failed on one. Well, yeah, if it didn't really, like, mean a whole lot to you, then yeah, it really is important for that to be in alignment with you. So, I mean, of course, asking about how long the company has been in existence, sort of the history of the company, what sort of things they believe in and they preach, what their sales tactics are, what are they going to teach me? Because if it's not in alignment with how I'm going to run my business, are they going to dislike how I run my business? Or are they going to be, happy with the way that I am running my business? But I definitely really just at the end of the day think that it has to be something that you wholeheartedly believe in and that you're excited about, and that it's something that it just applies to your life. So, if you're a health coach, yeah, it makes sense to be with a health and wellness company, right? I think sometimes we just jump into things because we have a friend who was selling for that company and it just, it sounds great. And maybe it works, but maybe it doesn't really deep down feel in alignment with you. And that's something sort of to consider. So I really think that it is a big decision, to partner with a company. And, nothing's permanent, but it is something to really think about and think about, is this something that if you are in the grocery store, you are naturally going to bring up to someone without feeling like a total spam bot? Or is it something that you're like, I kind of like don't know how to talk about it. I don't know much about it, not that you can't learn, but I really think ultimately, once enough of the boxes get checked with the company is, in good standing and things like that, I think ultimately it's just, what do you love? What do you find yourself talking about anyway, right? What are things that you believe in and can stand behind? Because that's really important. So I think, honestly, that really is the biggest thing, that it's something that you believe in and that you can find yourself talking about it no matter what, if you're selling it or not.
So tell us about Elevate Like a Boss. Tell us about Retreat. Tell us about Holly as well, your business partner.
Yes, Holly is the best. I don't even think she knows I'm doing this, so I'm going to just surprise her when this is done. But I was so lucky that our paths crossed. She only lives 45 minutes from me down in New Braunfels, has 2 young kids, and is working full-time currently, and has just, we're in very different places in life, but we work so well together, and we just sort of allowed it to happen. And so she actually came to me and said, let's start this group. And I was like, you are crazy. I mean, it wasn't even a twinkle in our eye at this point of what it would be now, but she said, let's help people with their virtual events or something like that, which we don't even really preach anymore. We don't even, that's one of those things that sort of puts someone in a corner. Oh, I feel like I have to buy, right? But so we jumped in. We started just learning from other people, and we just poured our heart into this group for months, and we were just meeting some wonderful people, and I don't even know how they were finding us. It was just, Facebook is magical. I think that's the third time I said this today, and it just really has attracted the right people, which has been so cool. And so we started the end of October. I want to say by end of November or December, we had 4,000 people. Wow. And I don't really know how that happened, and I wish I did, because I want to be able to teach people how to do that. But to be completely honest, I think it was just being shared in other groups as, wow, we found something that's not so spammy, and it's not, it's not teaching us to do the things that we're feeling sick about doing, right? And so that was sort of bringing people in by the hundreds. It was pretty wild. And we sat down December 9th, and we said, we were thinking about doing a challenge and sort of helping everyone stay on track for December and January. I'm sorry, January 1st and February. So those 2 months. And so we opened our very first challenge group. We charged $30 for the access to the course, or not even course. It was really just a checklist for each week. We'd give the challenges, and we just keep people accountable and give them things. Connect with 5 new people today. Write 5 gratitude notes. Do a random act of kindness. Just like things just that make you feel good and help you put yourself out there and sort of pushing your comfort zone a little bit. And so we had 200 people sign up for that, and that was over the holidays. We're sitting there, we're like, what? There's 5 more people joined today. This is so crazy. And so we started January 1st, and aside from it was amazing and we loved it and we had just such a great time with the people that we were working with, the biggest thing that we learned was that 60 days is a long time for a challenge group. And so we were like, whoa, we lost everyone by, week 5 or so. And we had 3 more weeks to go. And so it's not fun when people aren't paying attention. So we learned along the way, and we sort of figured out what was best. We then tried doing basically a subscription, a monthly subscription to just more coaching, more working with us, just us being able to put more time in because we're getting paid back for some of our time that we're putting in. We definitely didn't start the group to make money, but as it's grown, we're like, wow, okay, well, if we want to help more people, if we can get paid for our time, we can help those people, right? We can stop doing these other things that we're focusing on, and we can really focus on this group. And so in the early winter, it was after the retreat, after the challenge group. So probably March, April, May or so, we started testing out this subscription group, and I think it was about $15 a month. And to be completely honest, Holly and I didn't love it because we felt like if we couldn't make it to do a live training that night, then we felt guilty, and it was no longer this like passion project. It was now they're paying us and they're expecting a lot from us. So this doesn't feel good anymore. So we said, okay, all subscriptions are done at the end of May. We did one more challenge in May and had, a couple more people joining for that. And then we said, okay, we're going to go back to just completely free group and just pouring into it and just giving as much training as we can. We said, we're going to work on something this summer and stay tuned, but the group is always going to be free. And we won't change that ever because we learned our lesson. We were like, yeah, that didn't feel so good. But it was a great lesson to learn. And so over the summer, we worked on this course. It's called Elevate Your Business Roadmap. And it basically has these 3 pillars of what we believe in: connection, vulnerability, and curiosity. Like creativity? No, curiosity. And so just pulling people in and attracting the right people to your whatever it is that you're selling or you're doing. And so we released the course, which is still available for purchase at this point. It's on our website, elevatelikeaboss.com. And so that is just a video and a worksheet or a couple worksheets for each module. And that's something that people can just do at their own pace. And we had a lot of fun making that. It was pretty cool. And then we said, well, when we release that, why don't we work with a small group of people who want more coaching and more focus and really just to be in a small, not a 6,000 person group, but like a 15, 20 person group and get this really, really deep focus. And so we have our group, our VIP mastermind, we're calling it, and they are amazing. We had our first meeting on last Saturday, and it was, there was about 10 of us, and there were tears and there was laughter, and it was just like this amazing experience of, like, what is holding you back from sharing with people about what you do, or what is holding you back from really finding that success that you're looking for, or being able to leave that job that you're looking to leave. Like, what is it? And just having this supportive group of people who are just there for the same reasons. And so all of that sort of is leading up to our retreat. It's our very first ever. We had a couple of requests over the last year. Can we get together? Can we meet in person? Let's do a retreat. And we're like, well, if people are asking for it, let's see. And let's see if we can just make it happen. And so there's going to be 12 of us, including me and Holly. It's going to be an awesome number of people. We have a photographer coming. We have someone coming and doing meditation. We have someone coming and doing yoga. We're really just going to be working a lot on our businesses and our hopes and excitement and things that are driving us, things that we're struggling with, getting help from other people within the group of, well, what if you focus on posting about this instead? Or, if you want to draw people in who love this, then why don't you do this, and just giving some real life examples. And honestly, just being in the same room as these people that have been on this journey with us for over a year, or almost a year. And so that is like so crazy. It's in 3 weeks. It's on October 12th. And we've already had requests for another retreat down the road. So we are going to be opening up some enrollment packages for an April retreat, and just some sort of coaching and different things along the way up until that weekend that I think is going to be pretty magical. So we're very excited. It's on a river in New Braunfels, and it's actually a hot pink cabin. Is what we ended up finding. Nice. So it'll be picturesque for sure. Some funny pictures and really just supporting each other and just being there in the same room when we work online so often together. So definitely a dream come true for me and Holly, just seeing this grow so organically and without, trying to push it. And that's just been amazing. So we just hope to keep spreading the word about it, because I think there are a lot of people that are looking for different ways to run their businesses that doesn't feel so icky, right? Because we know we weren't the only ones to attract all these people so quickly. We knew that it was definitely lacking in the industry. So, yeah.
Yeah, that sounds really great. It sounds like it's going to be a really supportive time for people.
I think so.
Yeah.
I think so. I'm excited. Yeah. And just to mention, the Facebook group is just Elevate Like a Boss on Facebook, and anyone is welcome, even if you want to just check it out. If you're not a network marketer or anything, it really does apply to anyone in the online space that's looking to just be real and, not become white noise on your friends' pages, but to really grow a following and figure out, who you are trying to attract. So anyone is welcome.
Cool. And then how do we find you?
So on Facebook, Jacky Lamenzo, I'm the only one, but it's Jacky. And then my website, same thing, JackyLamenzo.com. Okay. I have that connects you to Elevate Like a Boss as well, and a couple other things that I have going on. So yeah, I would love to connect with anyone who has been listening and anyone who's interested in chatting. And I just am looking to connect all the time. So
cool. Well, is there anything we didn't cover? We did cover a lot.
We covered a lot. No, I think that was everything. And you asked some awesome questions that I, wasn't even ready for, but just pulled it out of somewhere. So
nice job.
Thanks for making me think and asking some just good questions. I really appreciate that.
No problem. And you can follow me, add me as a friend on Facebook, Kevin Olenek, Twitter, KVULE, Spreaker.com, KVULE. Oh, I like the Agree or Disagree the podcast page on Facebook, Instagram, KVULE, YouTube, and of course you can subscribe on iTunes, Agree or Disagree the podcast. We're going to end this. Jacky has a video out, a letter to her 18-year-old self, so we're going to end that with that. And keep in mind, we've got some other stuff going on. We're going to be talking to Kirsten Rawith about the Me Too. There's been a lot going on with that. Men and mental health with former city councilor in Calgary, Brian Pincott. And we're also going to have daddy blogger Ricky Shetty and I will be joining later on as well. So keep an eye out for that, and we'll talk to you all very soon. Bye for now.